This is Charlie Brown, um, in association with Faucher Boxing and Charlie Brown Boxing, man. And I'm a bit late making this video, man. Been quite busy on Sunday and that. Been training myself. I'm back in training, so you see a bit less of me on here. But basically, I'm just going to address this fight really quick, man. You know, Ersilandry, Lara, and Canelo Alvarez fought for the 154 title. I don't even know what titles they were fighting for, but anyway, to tell you the truth, what I witnessed was uh, not one of the worst robberies in boxing. There's been worse ones than that, but I witnessed a relatively excellent, comfortable boxing performance from Ersilandry Lara, man, and not one that he dominated, but I do feel that. I mean, I had the fight 7 rounds to 1 going into the night, and then I fell asleep because I was so sure, I was so confident that Ersilandry Lara would win that fight, take over that division, and set himself up for bigger fights. So anyway, the whole of Sunday, I wasn't really online or anything because I thought, Lara's won the fight. He's won he's won the titles. I didn't bother to do the mailbag afterwards with the YouTube boxing community because I was so assured, because I'd fallen asleep. I was so sure that Lara had won it. Anyway, I watched the Germany and Argentina game. I actually go back online, go onto YouTube, and I see robbery everywhere. And I'm like, oh no. Prior to the fight, there was a hangout. Big up Ersilandry Boxing. There was a hangout that we did. It wasn't live. It was off there, but we were supposed to go on there, but we didn't. And I kind of knew from then. I was getting a funny feeling, even throughout the week. I said to Errol earlier during the week that I felt that Canelo was going to shock the world and beat Lara. But I didn't explain myself. I didn't go into depth. I saw his training session and everything like that, but I didn't go into depth to what I meant. I kind of predicted. I know it sounds like funny. It's easy to say now, but I was predicting really that there would have been a robbery. But it was subconsciously I was predicting this. So really, in my conscious brain, I was thinking, "Nah, man, Lara's got this." Anyway, so I watched the fight back, and I'm just disgusted right now. I'm a bit aggrieved with this decision, man. I don't know how anybody could have Canelo winning that fight. I know people that had scored the fight 8 rounds to 4. And on closer observation, I still have it at 7-5. And that's me being really kind to Canelo. I did feel Lara, because he was sort of staying away and his work rate wasn't as high, but he was still landing the cleaner and effective punches. Even though, I don't know, sometimes I always say that work rate should be scored. It depends what fights it is. When it was Trout against Canelo, I thought he beat him. I thought Trout beat Canelo, and people would say, no, blah blah blah, this and that. I don't know. I don't know what wins you fights nowadays, man. I don't know, man. I'm just shocked and aggrieved at the moment. Obviously, if I look at it from a business point of view and a political, people always say that, don't bring the politics into it. But I'm going to be real, man. There was no way Canelo could have had another loss on his record, man. The loss that he had to Mayweather was monumental. He was put in there against Angulo. I told people that the Angulo fight wasn't right. Angulo should not have been in the ring with Canelo so early. He had a hematoma over his temple, which he gained in the Lara fight, and he'd been, you know, in immigration for God knows how many months. They had him locked up, literally like a convict. And I knew from that, I said, nah, this guy's, I mean, he might be physically right, but mentally he's not going to be focused really on that fight. He's just looking to get his money and paycheck. And it was just bad. And that's what we saw. What I'm seeing with De La Hoya, and I really don't like to admit this because I actually like Oscar De La Hoya, man. I got a lot of respect for Oscar De La Hoya, but I'm considering boycotting these guys, man. These elite guys like the De La Hoyas, and I'm not even going to mention the other guy. I'm just seriously thinking of boycotting these boys, like totally, like not even covering their fights, nothing like that. And that's cool for me, man, because you know this boxing now is becoming. It's just I don't know what's going on in boxing, man. It's just an event now. It's not even. It's not. There's no competition anymore. This was the closest 50-50 fight there's been, in a long time. And the undercard didn't really live up to the hype or anything like that. I don't know what the pay-per-view numbers were. I don't care anymore. I'm a little bit disgusted at De La Hoya, because it was obvious in the All Access he didn't really want this fight, and that was obvious. That's fair enough. You don't want the fight. But we all know that De La Hoya's got a lot of clout in the game. And to me, I don't know how them judges had it in favor of Canelo, man. I'm not even going to bother break down the fight because it was conclusive. Yeah, I mean, to anybody that watched that fight, you could have seen that Lara won it. I'm not just being like over emotional or sticking up for Ersilandry, but he won that fight, man. He won that fight clearly. He had the much better footwork. Canelo was unable to cut off the ring. And he just, Lara was able to pick him off, man. And like I said, I fell asleep at coming into round 9. I was so sure that Lara was going to lift that title. You know what I mean? Anyway, I don't know what happens for Lara now. I don't know where his head's going to be, but I hope he makes a speedy return, moves on. I feel aggrieved for Ronnie Shields as well because they did their homework. Ron Shields and the other guy, I don't know what the other guy's name is, his assistant trainer or whatever. They did their homework on Canelo, man. You could see like Lara took that fight really, really seriously, and so did Canelo. But there was no way in hell or heaven that that Canelo won that fight. And I know it's the truth. I haven't heard one. Like, I've been looking at all the other videos that people have been making. I haven't really seen any Mexicans. Usually a Mexican will come out and say, you guys are sour grapes and blah, blah, blah. I ain't seen no Mexicans really bigging up Canelo. They're not playing down what he did, but they're not really bigging him up. So they must know also, even if they don't care to admit it, that he lost that fight, man. It's a robbery, man. And I'm thinking that's ranking up there, man, with the Trout and Canelo and the Murray. I'm just talking in recent times, in the last 2 years, The Murray and Martinez one, that was also a robbery, man. And we're just seeing more of this, more and more of this, man. The politically connected fighter, the guy in his backyard, the guy with the promoter who's got more clout. It's disgusting, man. And people are talking about cleaning up boxing, making it a better place. But when they do all this fuckery and all this stuff, pardon my French, but when they do all this kind of stuff, they use the excuse, oh, it's a business. I hate this shit. And I'm really, really starting to hate this shit, man. Really, really starting to hate this boxing. The only thing that's keeping me going in boxing is the fact that I got my own goals and ambitions in boxing, man, and um, I'm even considering not even teaching the sweet science to certain people. That's how it's getting. You know, I'm gonna start being uppity now. You know, if you're not with a promoter, I feel that I'm feeling one that's not honest and just. I'm not even gonna train you. That's how it's going. I'm not. It's getting to the point where I don't even want to. There's so many fighters out there that really need my help, and because it's a business, it's a business. It's like it's ridiculous. It's the way they're marginalizing people. It's ridiculous, man. You know, big up 78 Sports as well for his video when he did a video on the death of a slick boxer. I'm just gonna expand on that. I'll probably answer a question that he probably wanted answered because I don't know, he was kind of posing a question there, and it needed to be said. A lot of what he said, I felt, and I've been saying that for a long time. And usually, when I say them kind of things within boxing, they say, "Oh, it's sour grapes," and yeah, don't make excuses. And listen, when I was boxing as an amateur, there was the same epidemic because I'm a slick boxer. And let me tell you, I am a slick boxer. I'm not one of these guys that just rushes in there, takes a whole heap of shots. And I remember every time I was sparring, and I know this from, I'm not talking about from when I was about 10 years old, coming, right up into my 20s. I remember like other trainers always telling me like, that not my trainer particularly, like that the opponents or the sparring partners trainer would always say, get stuck in, have a tear up, have a tear. And I used to think, nah, man, I'm not. That's not me. Why are you trying to get me to do that? Because you don't learn anything that way. And I'm starting to realize now, this game, that's the only way you can marginalize a group of people legally. That's the only way you can marginalize a certain group of people. How is it that all the guys that are slick and people can say what they want, say what you want, I don't give a fuck, man. How come they all seem to be black boxers? How come all the black fighters are the slick boxers? We all know that blacks dominate this sport. I don't care. You can say what you want. We all know for a long time the blacks and Latinos as well, been dominating boxing. The only way you can legally marginalize a black man now is to say, well, boy, we want to see you come forward, throw a shitload of punches, get hurt, get brain damage. No, people are not stupid no more. Black men are not stupid. This is just ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is sickening, man. This is really, really, really sickening, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know where boxing's going, man. They always talk about the future and the kids and that. I'm training a lot of kids, and I will continue to teach the sweet science. I will continue, even if I'm marginalized and I'm not able to make any money out of it or whatever. I don't care. I'm going to continue because there's no way I'm having a generation of kids going in there, getting their face punched up, getting brain damage, turning to drugs and steroids and all these substitutes and everything, living a rock star lifestyle when they should really be living like a monk. It's like you don't get any credit for being good anymore, man. And we're talking about, everybody has a duty in the community to help the youth and this and that. If we keep perpetuating these ideologies of, it's almost like thuggery, really, and mediocrity. If we keep perpetuating these kind of ideologies, man, we're not going to have, boxing's going to die. And I think boxing is slightly on the decline. It really, I hate to admit that, man. I like to give credit to the boxers and say, no, the boxers are just exceptional, but it's really on the decline, man. Anytime I see a black boxer who's slick, no matter what country he's from, whether he's African, whether he's Caribbean, whether he's English, whether he's American, wherever, they seem to get cut off of their of any big pay-per-view event, they get cut off of their television network. Look what's happening with Guillermo Redondo. Look what's happening to him. I mean, HBO just dashed him away the way they did and said he hasn't got a crowd pleasing style. What the fuck is going on? This is boxing. This is boxing. You're supposed to hit your guy and not get hit. That's what it's all about. That's literally what it's about. What makes it exciting is a style matchup when you get a puncher and a boxer, and that's how it's been for years, since Ali Frazier days. That's what it's been. But it's now it's like, no, you got to be a Terminator. You got to throw 700 punches around, which is fucking impossible. Let me tell you that, unless you're on steroids. You've now got to, leave your chin out there, leave your chin exposed. You've got to be cut in every fight, because if you're not cut, then you're not a real man. You're not a real warrior. What is going on, man? What we need to do as well, and the only way to preserve it, I mean, this is why I don't like UFC. I've got nothing against Brazilian kickboxing or Brazilian jiu-jitsu and all them kind of things. I've got nothing against all those individual fighting styles when they're practiced properly, when they're, pure and they're done the way. But when they mix it and mesh it the way they've done MMA and UFC and all that, I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not an advocate of it at all. And they say, people say UFC is more exciting, but nobody, look, if I was to show you the pay-per-view numbers of UFC compared to boxing, there's no comparison. Boxing wins all the time. Boxing that's what it is. It's a noble art. And I don't think people understand that. I think people are still stuck in, I don't know what times we're living in, man. It's like we're back in the caveman barbaric days now. It reminds me of that film that Arnold Schwarzenegger was in. I think it was called The Running Man. It was like a game show where, the people, they had to basically play this game show for their life, basically, man. There were people just calling and lusting for their blood. It's just ridiculous. This pig-headed mentality that people have now. It's just ridiculous, man. I can't subscribe to this bullshit, man. So I'm gonna listen, I've ranted on for too long now. I'm gonna close it on this, but from now on, I'm only covering the boxes I wanna cover now. I am being biased now. I've never really been a bias or judgmental guy on this YouTube shit, but I'm not covering any golden boy, any golden boy fighter, man. I don't give a fuck. I just think, that it's disgusting. Oscar De La Hoya, man, I had a lot of respect for him, but after seeing that, it's just, that's wrong. This is even worse than the Malignaggi and Broner fight. And I remember saying it back then, Malignaggi, in my mind, won that fight against Broner and should have kept his belt, but, because he worked harder. He did work harder, he did land more, he threw more punches and landed more than Broner. But Broner landed the more clean and effective ones. Yeah, but that doesn't mean he wins the fight. But this Lara and Canelo fight, Lara landed the cleaner and effective punches, and he got out of the way. He had good footwork. With Broner didn't really have any footwork against Malignaggi. And Canelo did not throw half the amount of punches that Malignaggi threw. So I just don't see, where's the justice, man, in boxing, man? It's disgusting, man. Showtime, I still watch Showtime. I big them up, for televising the event and that. But I'm not covering a Golden Boy promotion anymore, man. So I won't be subscribing to any of these fighters now. Any of these kind of come forward fighters as well. They're not getting no play on my channel, man. I'm just sticking with the sweet science, as I always have done anyway. And like I've always said, I've been saying this for nearly 2 years now. I always favor the guy with better skills, and I will continue to do that now. I don't care what people say to me, man. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there, man. I usually say leave your comments in the comment section. I probably won't get any anyway. I'll put an age restriction on all my videos now as well. So I get less viewings. I don't do it for the viewings, man. I just do it for the boxing, the real boxing purists. You know who you are. You're welcome, the YouTube boxing community. You know who you are, man. You're welcome to like the video or leave comments if you want to. Bless.